إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. So it was a pleasure to welcome all of you. And once again we continue our classes of fiqh, the Islamic jurisprudence. And we're still reading from the Al-Mulakhas al-Fiqhi. Al-Mulakhas al-Fiqhi of our noble Shaykh al-Dr. Al-Walid Salih al-Fawzan حفظه الله تعالى ومتعه بالصحة والعافية وغفر له ولوالديه وللمسلمين والمسلمات. We're still going to read from the Mulkhas al-Fiqhi, the summary of Islamic jurisprudence of our noble Shaykh Dr. Salih al-Fawzan. Allah preserve him and all of his brothers amongst the ulama and the scholars of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. May Allah grant him better health and better understanding. And may Allah allow us to continue to benefit from his work. May Allah have mercy on him and his parents and all the Muslims. Ameen. Alhamdulillah, we're going to start today the volume 2. Al-Mujallad al-Thani. And this volume 2, it begins by Kitab al-Buyu', the section that deals with the trade transactions, which is a very important section for us. It's a very important section, alhamdulillah, for us to pay attention to. As I mentioned before, there's some terminologies and some words that we need to be familiar with. So these classes requires your attention. So your heart and your mind has to be present along with your body. Because if you lose, focus for a while, then you may lose the whole understanding of the class and the like. Ala ayyin, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us success and to aid us and help us and to open our hearts to understand better our deen and our religion. Because of it is difficult to translate. Alhamdulillah, the translation in English is available in the book. I have it in front of me, so I'm going to read the Arabic text because there are people who, mashallah, they understand Arabic, people who listen after this class, mashallah, to the recordings. There are people who they want to follow. Alhamdulillah, they try their best, they have the Arabic text. So that's why I read the Arabic text, and then inshallah ta'ala we'll read the translation from the book that is already out there in the market, a summary of Islamic jurisprudence, volume 2 of our noble Shaykh Dr. Salih al-Fawzan hafidahullah ta'ala. Before we begin in reading in the first chapter from these chapters of Kitab al-Buyu', the trade transactions, let me just read these chapters here. We're going to be dealing, inshallah, studying these chapters. Babun fi ahkam al-buyu', a chapter about trade transactions. Another chapter, Babun fi bayan al-buyu' al-manhi anha. Chapter number 2, prohibited trade transactions. Babun fi ahkam al-shurut fi al-bay'. Chapter number 3 will be on trade transactions conditions. What are the conditions we need to know? Okay. Babun fi ahkam al-khiyar fi al-bay'. Chapter number 4, option in trade transactions. Babun fi ahkam al-tasarruf fi al-mabi' qabla qabdihi wal-iqalah. Number 5, disposal of purchased commodity before receipt and resigning of bargains. Babun fi bayan al-riba wa hukmih. Chapter 6 is about the ruling in riba. It's going to be about the riba, usury, interests, and the like. Babun fi ahkami bay' al-usul. Number 7, chapter about selling assets. Selling assets. باب في أحكام بيع الثمار. Also in chapter number 8 is selling fruits. Somebody who has a farm and he has fruits and he wants to sell them, so you need to know. باب في وضع الجوائح. Number 9, blighted fruits and their rulings and the like. باب في ما يتبع المبيع وما لا يتبعه. Chapter number 10, sale of payments in advance, and there is many other loaning and loans, mortgage, the warranty, the kafala, the transference of debts, and many other, alhamdulillah, chapters, such as commissioning, the wakala, interdiction, conciliation, and preemption, and the like. And then we go to the other section of partnership, sharika, and kinds of partnership, and inshallah ta'ala, and renting and the like. So this is very important, inshallah, and we thank Allah for allowing us to get to this section. And once again we ask Allah to open our hearts and give us the better understanding, inshallah ta'ala. So the first, as we mentioned, section or chapter in this section, trade, باب في أحكام البيوع. Now some of the rulings pertaining to trade transactions, okay, buying, selling, and all that, all the transactions. There's going to be some points, inshallah ta'ala, as the Shaykh doesn't put this point, I just put them like this so that it will be easy for you brothers and sisters to, inshallah ta'ala. And also it's easy for me, if you want me to repeat a point, you just say, hey, repeat point number 1. Or you may say, repeat point number 7, for instance, instead of just trying to read your notes, and I'm like, where in the class, where is it? Was it in the beginning of the class? Do you remember? Was it in the middle? But if you tell me point number 7, we go to point number 7. Okay? على أي. قال الشيخ حفظه الله, point number 1, بين الله في كتابه الكريم وبين النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم في سنته المطهرة أحكام المعاملات لحاجة الناس إلى ذلك، لحاجتهم إلى الغذاء الذي تقوى به أبدانهم، وإلى الملابس والمساكن والمراكب وغيرها من ضروريات الحياة ومكملاتها. The Shaykh, he began by saying, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his noble book, the Quran, and also the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, through his honorable sunnah, his prophetic tradition, pointed out the ruling on transactions. These are, Allah mentioned them in the Quran, and the rulings, and also the Prophet ﷺ make them in details in his sunnah, okay, in his narrations, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, because of people's need for them. People need transactions. People in general need food, clothes, houses, vehicles, and other necessities of life, in addition to different luxuries which are obtained through trade. That's how you get your food. It's a transaction. You go to the market and you buy. You give them money, they give you goods. Likewise, you give money, they give you that car or that truck. You give money, you buy a house or you rent. This is transactions. So, point number 2, وَالْبَيْعُ جَائِزٌ بِالْكِتَابِ وَالسُّنَّةِ وَالْإِجْمَاعِ وَالْقِيَاسِ. والبيع جائز قال والبيع جائز بالكتاب والسنة والإجماع والقياس. قال تعالى في سورة البقرة وأحل الله البيع. وقال تعالى في سورة البقرة أيضا ليس عليكم جناح أن تبتغوا فضلا من ربكم. الحمد لله. يهديكم الله ويصلح بالكم. In point number 2, the Shaykh says, trade is permissible. Trade is permissible. According to the Quran, we have proofs in the Quran, in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and also the consensus of Muslim scholars, and the consensus of Muslim scholars. And he mentioned two ayats, the ayat 275 of Surah Al-Baqarah, but Allah has permitted trade. Allah has permitted trade, so trade is permissible. Also he mentioned the ayah 198 in Surah Al-Baqarah, which is chapter number 2. Chapter number 2 in the Quran, verse 198. There is no blame upon you for seeking bounty from your Lord, even though this is during Hajj. Jazakallah khair. Even though this is during Hajj, but it is general. It's general ruling. There is no blame upon you for seeking bounty from your Lord by selling and buying and selling and conducting business transactions and the like. Point number 3. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم البيعان بالخيار ما لم يتفرقا فإن صدق وبين بورك لهما في بيعهما وإن كذب وكتم محقت بركة بيعهما. الحديث متفق عليه من حديث الحكيم بن حزام عند الإمامين البخاري ومسلم رحمهم الله. In this point number 3, could it be in the same point number 2, because it's still from the Adillah, but we make it as 3 inshallah, because I did so it's not a big deal, but inshallah, the Prophet ﷺ, he says, in the hadith of Hakim ibn Hizam, there is agreed upon by Imam al-Bukhari, Imam Muslim, rahimahumullah, the seller and the buyer have the right to keep or return goods as long as they have not parted. Meaning, as long as they still together in the same place, they didn't disperse and everyone go his way, they have the right to say, the buyer has the right to say, give me back my product, I don't want to sell it, I changed my mind. Or the one who bought it has the right to say, you know what, I changed my mind, you keep it, give me my money back. This is as long as they are still in the same place. Okay? Then the Prophet ﷺ tells us also, if both parties, the buyer and the seller, speak the truth and point out the defects and qualities of the goods, then they will be blessed in their transaction. SubhanAllah, barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have a defect, for example, you want to sell a car, and you know you were selling it because it was giving you trouble, transmission problem. Now you're not going to go to sell it to someone and say, hey, nothing wrong with this car, man. This car runs like I don't know what. No, you tell them, look, man, this car, I don't know nothing wrong. Actually, one thing is wrong, is the transmission. And I took it to a mechanic, he says he needs $900. I don't have it. I don't have that money to put in this car. So I'm telling you right now, yeah, that's the problem. That's what the mechanic says. This car has this problem in transmission. It could be fixed, and he says for this price. Some people, they know how to fix those things themselves. You see? Some people, maybe he already have another car that have a bad engine and has a good transmission. He's just looking for another car to take that transmission or whatever from it and put it in there. So the barakah is in speaking the truth and being truthful. So Islam, no cheating in Islam. No cheat people in Islam. That's very bad. That's forbidden in Islam. You know why? Because, subhanAllah, you don't want to be cheated. Can you imagine someone swears, oh Allah, this is a good car, and sell you a bad car? When you find out, would you like it? Would you be happy? No. Likewise, you don't do these things for others. That's what Islam teaches us, alhamdulillah. You have to treat others the same way you will be treated. You want the people at least to be truthful with you. Regardless you buy it or not. You want the people to tell you, look man, I'm selling it, but let me tell you something. There is a dent right here, just in case you didn't see it. The door, this window here in the back door, the rear window, it doesn't work right. And they are not deceive you, because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. I have to tell you that. Alright? And then there is some weird sound comes from the engine. I didn't have time to take it to the mechanic to check it. If I'm telling you what I know so far wrong with this car. You say that. But don't say, ain't nothing wrong, man. It's like that. He says, but if they tell lies or hide something, then the blessing of the transaction will be destroyed. And no blessing. Point number 4. قال الشيخ صالح الفوزان حفظه الله وقد أجمع العلماء على ذلك بالجملة وأما القياس ومن ناحية أن حاجة الناس داعية إلى وجود البيع لأن حاجة الإنسان تتعلق بما في يد صاحبه من ثمن أو مثمن وهو لا يبذله إلا بعوض فاقتضت الحكمة جواز البيع للوصول إلى الغرض المطلوب. Now point number 4, it contains 2 segments. Number 1, that the Muslim scholars have a total agreement on the permissibility of trade in general. Because the Shaykh, he mentioned that it is permissible in Islam, and in the Quran, in the Sunnah, in the consensus of the scholars, and in the qiyas as well, the analogical deduction, which is called qiyas. Okay? So he said Muslim scholars have a total agreement on the permissibility of trade in general. As for concerning the qiyas, the analogical deduction, so trade transactions are permissible because people's needs are interdependent. Nobody have everything he needs. You need others, and you need what others own and possess. But how are you going to get it out of their hands? You see? Here is a better way. He says, and the people grant nothing for nothing. إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ اللَّهِ. So a person does not give what he has, money or goods, in return for nothing. You see? So wisdom necessitates the permissibility of trade in order to enable people to get their needs. That's how you get your needs. Point number 5. وينعقد البيع بالصيغة القولية أو الصيغة الفعلية. Trade transaction can be validated by means of a verbal formula or an actual one. Okay? Whether by statements or by actions. That's how the transaction take place. Some transactions, they take place by verbally. And the Shaykh is going to make that in detail, alhamdulillah, later on. Or by actions also. No statements uttered at all. Then point number 5. Now point number 6, the Shaykh says, والصيغة القولية تتكون من الإيجاب. الصيغة القولية تتكون من الإيجاب وهو اللفظ الصادر من البائع كأن يقول بعتك كذا بعتك السلعة كذا. والقبول وهو اللفظ الصادر من المشتري كأن يقول اشتريت. So this point number 6, the verbal formula, what is it? It expresses the seller's verbal agreement on the sale Okay, when he, for example, says to the buyer, well, I sell it to you. Birtu, I sell this to you. That's a verbal agreement, okay? I sell this to you. And the buyer's verbal acceptance, when he, for example, says, I buy it. Alright, I take it, I'll buy it. Now, that was point number 6, right? Now we go to point number 7. والصيغة الفعلية, as for the actual, one that validate the transaction, هي المعاطات التي تتكون من الأخذ والإعطاء، كأن يدفع إليه السلعة فيدفع له ثمنها المعتاد. The actual formula is the act of exchange itself, is the act of exchange of goods itself. When the seller is given the usual price and the buyer takes the commodity without any verbal declaration, as it is done in stores right now, grocery stores and the like. You know the price of whatever you're buying. Somebody, for example, go to a Walmart and they get some milk. They know it's like $3.79. They know that the price is there. It's not like somebody there. How much is milk? Oh, $3.79. All right, give me a gallon. Nah, the price is known. They go with their cart, put a gallon. They go to get an orange juice. They get a box of eggs. All right. They go get a box of cereal, for example, for the kids. Then they go to the fruit section. They get some bananas, some apples, some oranges, some grapes. And then that's it. And then they go to the cashier. That's it. Nothing. How much? The cashier, they don't ask the cashier, how much is this? How much is that? That's it. They give them the money. They take that's the exchange. They give the money that is worth, and they take the goods. Now,
point number 7.
That's number 7. This is number 7. We're just talking about the actual formula by Naam. The actual formula is the act of exchange itself. When the seller is given the usual price and the buyer takes the commodity, the goods, without any verbal declaration. Somebody, for example, they have a curb, they call it curb sale. Curb, right? What, garage sale? Yard sale or garage sale or something. He has the price on that chair, that recliner, you'll like it. It's $7. You don't even talk. Maybe, hi, good morning, I don't know what. And that's it. You give them the $7, you take the couch, put it in your truck, and that's it. You see? That's the actual formula. That was number 7. Number 8, قال الشيخ حفظه الله: وقد تكون الصيغة مركبة من القولية والفعلية. قد تكون الصيغة مركبة من القولية والفعلية. But this formula of trade and transaction could be by both verbal and actual formulas. Both. It is a verbal and actions as well, an exchange. Point number 9. قال الشيخ تقي الدين رحمه الله شيخ الإسلام: بيع المعاطاة له صور. إحداهما أن يصدر من البائع إيجاب اللفظ فقط، ومن المشتري أخذ، كقوله: خذ هذا الثوب بدينار، فيأخذه وكذلك لو كان الثمن معينا مثل أن يقول خذ هذا الثوب بثوبك فيأخذه. This point number 9, he has sub points under it. I'm going to name them as Alif, Ba, and Jim. Alright? Under this point number 9, you're going to have Alif, Ba, and Jim. Okay? It's not confusing?
No.
Huh?
Alif, Ba, Ta?
No, Alif, Ba, Jim. We're not teaching Arabic. I'm just following what usually the ulama do. That's all I don't know why they don't do Alif, Ba, Ta. They do Alif, Ba, Jim. That's what I do too. In the books you find, when they don't put 1, 2, 3, they put Alif, Ba, Jim, Dal. Don't ask me why. We should ask them. So, hey. Now this number 9. طيب. That the verbal طيب. Yeah. That Shaykh al-Islam rahimahullah, he said, there are some ways of exchange, okay? Some ways of exchange. First, one of them which is alif to us, alif. When the seller gives only a verbal acceptance and the buyer takes the commodity without declaring his acceptance. Without declaring his acceptance. Alright? I repeat. When the seller gives only a verbal acceptance, the one who's selling the goods, he gives his verbal acceptance to sell his goods. And the buyer takes it, that commodity, without declaring his acceptance. He didn't say anything. So here is this for $5. What is $5? Alright? The man take it without saying anything. For example, a seller may say to the buyer, take this piece of cloth for a dinar. A dinar is a golden coin. Say for $1. Okay? Dollar store. Dollar General, okay? Inshallah. Or any other store, by the way. So he said to him, take this piece of cloth for a dinar. And the buyer takes it without saying a word. Without saying a word, okay? He says the same ruling applies when the price is a given material. For example, the seller may say to the buyer, take this piece of cloth for yours. No money was involved. Now this is exchange. Take this piece of cloth for yours, and then the buyer takes it. Okay, and then the buyer takes it. When will he tell him, look, this piece of cloth costs this money? The guy agreed, give him the money, take it, the buyer didn't say a word. Or this man he's selling towels, the other guy is selling towels too. Alright? So he said to him, listen man, take my towel for yours. The man didn't say a word, he handed him the towel, the other one gave him his. Alright? طيب. Ba, be mutual. You did ba, right? You learned ba so far? You did. You know how to write ba? Huh? How? No, ba. You remember alif, ba, ta, tha? What is the alphabet? The Arabic alphabet. I know you've been learning them, right?
Yeah, I've been learning.
You know your alphabets?
I don't know them all the way.
Can you tell me what you know so far? By the way, this is the brother who took Shahada 2 days ago. Alright? Alhamdulillah.
Alif, Ba, Ta, Ta, Ha.
Jim. Jim before Ha. Jim, the one that have the dot. See those ones, jim, ha, ha, they all look the same, like. Alright? But the first one is jim. They have the dot on the bottom. The ha has a dot on the top, and the ha has no dots. That's ha. Like Hassan, Halima.
No dot.
No dot. Ha, no dot. Ha has a dot on the top. Jim, ja has a dot on it. So it's good. So you need alif, ba, jim. You know how to write them?
I do not write. I write them right here.
You have them in there?
Yeah, I do have them in here.
Let me see.
I was practicing at home.
Let me see. Jazakallah khair. Barakallahu feek. So this is alif, see? Very good. And this is ba. And this is jim. Alright, so when I say alif, so you put alif. Ba, this. And jim, this one. Beautiful handwriting, man.
Shukr.
Almost as better as mine. If you keep doing like this, man, you're going to beat me soon. Jazakallah khair. Barakallahu feek. Hayyakallah. MashaAllah. That's good. Alhamdulillah. That's beautiful. So now باء باء أن يصدر من المشتري لفظ ومن البائع إعطاء سواء كان الثمن معينا أو مضمونا في الذمة. When the buyer declares his acceptance, okay? Now it's about the buyer now. When the buyer declares his acceptance, and the seller only gives him the commodity whether the price is a given material or the sale is on credit. And of course the buyer is honestly guaranteed to pay. Alright? So now here's the buyer, he's the one that says like, oh yeah, I take this for this. Whether he give the price, it's on credit. Yeah, man, in America, man, it's like, I don't want you to understand credit like credit cards, because credit cards are not permissible in Islam. Because they involve riba and interest, and get the people in trouble. Those people who have those MasterCards and Visa cards and all those cards, people, they think, oh man, it's make life easy. No. At that moment, the transaction, because when the people, they just go and buy whatever they want and they don't have the cash, they just swipe, they keep swiping, but they are slicing. It's not just swiping, you know? And it's gonna come back and slice them later on. Because when the bills start coming and piling up, and they're like, whoa, wait a minute, where did this all come from? That's when they get you. So you'll find people, man, they so much so that people don't want to even get rid of those cards, and they even can't. They become like slave to those cards, to those bank systems. Because that same price, that good or that commodity that costs like $50, by the time he'll pay it off, it's already triple or 4 times more the price. There's in one item. Do people buy only one item a day? Items. In a month. And you know, especially here, people, they just do nothing but buy. Huh? Hey. And then they be like just working to pay those things and they could never pay them. But alhamdulillah for Islam. You like it? You can afford it? Alhamdulillah. You don't afford it? Get something in less than that. But it's yours. You don't have to drive a 2015 car, brand new, show off with the Joneses. Yes, you have money, you're rich, you can buy a 2025 car. You will have it 10 years before anybody got it. Why not? They make your own car. There's just some people are like that. They go to, listen man, I want a car like this. Says, we can't make cars like that. Why? They don't sell. I'm buying it. How much? They're like, hey, $250,000. Don't worry about it. Make it. And they make it. Customer made, right? Huh?
Customized.
Or custom made.
Custom made, yeah.
Which one is better?
It's the same thing. Custom
No, listen. You know such thing. You have a pen? I have a pen, you have a pen. Which one is better? Yours is better. So be nice and return the favors. So which better? Custom made or customized? Okay, thank you. Custom made. See? You get the point. That's right. Jazakallah. على أي Alhamdulillah for Islam. Islam teach you your heart be attached to your creator, that's it. Don't be attached to material things. Islam free us from material things. You get from them what you can. But your heart is attached to your Lord, the hereafter, to save yourself from the punishment of the hereafter. You won't be attached to so many banks and institutions that they be calling you, sending you text messages, frightening you. Listen, man, if you don't make the payment, we come in and take the car. If you don't make that payment, we're taking that sofa, the bed, the clothing, the shoes, the fridge, the freezer, the food in the freezer, the cat, everything, cat food. If you don't pay, they can take everything. That's why some people are homeless, some people they commit suicide because they lose everything. They lose the house after years of putting money, but once they couldn't make a payment, the banks they care less. If you don't make the payments, they come and take everything, and they don't care if you're going to go in the street or you and your children, or they don't care. Yes, Bimich.
Still number 9 of this point 10.
Still number 9, point B. Ba. Ba. We said alif, ba. Okay? No. Just because we mentioned the credit, here is not the credit like we know here. No, here credit meaning, I don't know if they do it in here. But,
Some people.
They still do it? Back home, they still do it a lot. In grocery stores, especially small grocery stores. Not the big ones. The big ones, they don't care. Because they have the money and they don't care. But small grocery stores in Africa, they still do this. They have a little notebook like this. Just like this. And he has it with him on a counter. Okay? So you come and buy, and especially in the people in the neighborhood, because there is one in every neighborhood. So the ladies, the men, they go to work, but the ladies, they send their kids. You'd be amazed, you see 5 years old, can't even say an egg, bread. They know what he wants every day, camp the same day, the house, home. They ask for 2 eggs in the morning and a bread, piece of bread. He give it to them. And there's no money. That kid doesn't bring no money. So what that person do, he knows what that kid belongs to. Family so and so. And he goes there and he has, by some of them they be alphabetical order. He goes to C, for example, and he goes to that family name, and he will write how much money. Some of them they write eggs. Based on some of them, mashallah, they just write the price. $7 this morning. 3 hours later, the mother, she needs butter. Okay, she's saying, give me butter. So you see these kids coming and going, mashallah. Then later on, in the afternoon, they want to make some cake. Send him again for some flour, for some butter, some chocolate, this and that. And he kept writing down. And then in the end of the month, because in those countries, people are still paid monthly, not weekly or bi-weekly. Many people they get paid only once a month. And it's difficult. I don't know, he has its good and its bad. For whatever, man, in the beginning of the month, they got nice money. But then after 1 week, that's it. Money. Why? Because, keep in mind now, you find, especially the people who are middle class and lower than middle class, they don't make a lot of money. So they have this, what they call it, this credit we're talking about here. With everybody. With the grocer, with the butcher, with the gas station.
They call it here tab. They call it
A tab.
Yeah.
A tab, yeah?
Yeah.
Keep it, huh?
They keep a
It's
tab.
called a tab.
Oh, a tab, yeah. I heard that before. Keep it a tab, yes. I know. Huh?
Keep it on the tab.
Ah,
You say put it on my tab.
put it in my
And then you
tab.
come and pay how much it is later on.
Put it in my tab, I'm getting a cab. Okay, that's right. Exactly. Right. Alright, طيب. And then in the end, the man, he get his paycheck. Huh? Let's say it's $300. $300, that's average a month. Whoever make $300, that's middle class, by the way, in some countries in Africa and Asia. So $300, he goes to the grocery, how much? Oh, $25. No, more than that. He will like at least $90 or $100. He goes to the gas station because he has a moped, he gotta go to work and stuff. Him too. He has another $50 or $60. And that's what my father, by the way, used to do. So I know exactly, because I used to know his tabs. I used to have one of those, but I don't know what happened to it. And I used to go with my father, rahimahullah. And by the way, my father was making not even $300, he was making $40 a month. $40 a month. And we were like some 25 people in the house. And on top of that, my 3 uncles with their children, they don't have no job and they all eat with us. Baraka ya akhi. Baraka. But one thing is for sure. Tell you, we didn't have a kitchen. When I grew up in a farm, no electricity, no running water, nothing. The kitchen was one room. There is no stove, no cabinets, no faucet, nothing. No fridge, nothing. So, it's now, subhanAllah, here we take a lot of things for granted, ya akhi. All this stuff, and still a man want to fight his wife because she didn't cook. What are you talking about? Akhi, we used to look, meat, we used to see it once a week. Once a week, meat. And a half a kilo of lamb, for example, or goat, or a half a chicken, for all these people, 35 people plus. That's why my mother, she tell us, meat is bad for you. And we ask, why you put it there? It's only for flavor. We don't eat. The only way we really eat meat nice is in the Eid al-Adha. We used to love the Eid. Oh man, the Eid used to be good. We used to get sick of eating so much meat. And also if there is a wedding, that's when we really eat some. Other than that, we don't. And it doesn't matter, but a lot of vegetables, because we grow up in a farm, and one thing, see, my mom, she will cook once a day, around 1 or 2 p.m., and that's it. If you are at that time when the food is served, you will eat. If you're not there, like me, usually I don't know where I'm at. That's it. You come back, food is gone, what you do? Just go on the farm, eat 3 tomatoes. If it's tomatoes, 2 carrots. And that's your dinner. Now that's dinner right there. That's it. There was no grocery stores, there was no divvies or none of that, man. Nothing. Dunkin' Donuts. Here people are here, subhanAllah, they so, I don't know, spoiled. And still gonna complain. Still gonna complain. You wanna take a shower, you got to go to the well. You're gonna walk for 500 yards and get the water from the well, And you got to before you do that, you have to set the fire. Because there was no stove, no gas, no nothing. You have to go and gather the wood and set the fire. And then once you bring that bucket, it was a iron bucket, that's what, it takes like a half an hour, 45 minutes based on how strong that fire is. And then that's what you get. Then you will put it in 2 other buckets. Now you have some warm water. You take it with you to this room. That's all you have. I remember sometimes they put shampoo, everything. By mistake, you knock out the bucket. And it's cold. What do you do now? You got two choices. Whether you have a backup, may Allah have mercy on my mother. She knows. She already have a backup for us. You scream like, hey, help! Water, please. Then she will bring you some water. If there is no water, now for that water to heat up, how long it take? Told you 45 minutes. So what you do? Whether you stay there shivering, no, usually we used to wrap in a blanket in your shampoo, go inside and wait until the water is warm again. SubhanAllah, but it was beautiful. It was nice. It was beautiful, Allah, yeah. And now, SubhanAllah, for so many things that Allah has given us, Allah makes so many things easy for us, and we are ungrateful. May Allah have mercy on us. Faddallah. Now.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
So the credit here, it means like a tab. Like here is known to some people, they pay cash or they pay immediately. Other people they say, listen man, just put it on a tab, and they whatever. In the end of the day, they pay it weekly, every 2 weeks, whatever they agree on. على أي. Third, ألا يلفظ واحد منهما بل هناك عرف بوضع الثمن وأخذ المثمن. Jim, that when neither the seller nor the buyer speaks about price, for there is a custom to that effect. And this is depends on the people traditions, no price. They have their own ways, okay? This goes back to the traditions of certain people, He don't say anything, he don't say, Wallahu a'lam, they know the prices or whatever it is, so. He knows how this costs. He don't even say anything. He will take it, give the money for it, and the like. Point number 10, ويشترط لصحة البيع شروط منها ما يشترط في العاقدين ومنها ما يشترط في المعقود عليه إذا فقد منها شرط لم يصح البيع. إذا فقد منها شرط لم يصح البيع. And we're gonna mention this point and we end this class tonight at this point. The Shaykh, he says, Shaykh Salih al-Fawzan, so there are certain conditions to be fulfilled. Some related to the two parties, while others to the commodity itself. There are certain conditions have to be fulfilled. Some of them related to the buyer and the sellers themselves. Okay? Not anyone who buy or sells something, that transaction is valid. Now there is certain conditions that have to be fulfilled for that transaction to be valid. Some of them, those conditions applies on the buyer and the seller. Some other applies on the goods itself, the commodity itself. Now, to make a trade transaction valid, lacking any of which invalidate the transaction. If any of these conditions is missing, that transaction is void, is not valid. And we stop here inshallah. We continue next Monday. هذا وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.